Hi, I'm Katie Maloney.
And I'm Dana Kathan, and we are the Disrespectfully Podcast. Recently, we've been super excited to see a surge in new listeners. We love doing the show. We love our listeners and are super excited about it. So we invite you.
Yeah, we invite you into the Covenant for our unhinged topics. We have a really good time.
Our stream of consciousness.
We're giving advice. We're listening to and reading all your stories that you send in about your unhinged behavior as well.
If you want to sit down with your friends and just chit chat about what's going on in your world and laugh, maybe cry, maybe evaluate your life choices, this is the podcast for you.
This is definitely the podcast for you.
Check it out.
Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience in their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's Libsyn, ads.com today.
Welcome to Storyworthy. My name is Christine Blackburn, and I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Whether you're a longtime fan of the show of over 14 years, or you're a brand new listener, welcome to Storyworthy. I hope you guys are doing well. As you know, I have been airing Storyworthies sort of sporadically. You've noticed, right? And if you've been listening at all, you know that that's because I lost my hearing. That's right. I lost my hearing in late May of this year, 24. And to make a long story short, I've been deaf in my right ear, which is very hard. Not to talk, not to podcast, but to edit and to get more specific about sound. It's really bothers me. So I stopped episodes temporarily, but I'm here today to talk about this show that I'm going to present to you now. It was filmed the other day at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank, California, and you're going to hear 8 storytellers, including myself. Everyone is telling a true 10-minute story, and the talent is really, it's up there. I don't book losers, as you know, or maybe you didn't know that, but I only book really great talent. And on the show you're going to hear today, you're going to hear from John Flynn, Tom Farnan, Julia Lechner, David Neale, Jen Curcio, Lauri Fraser, and Katya Duft. These guys are all storytellers here in Los Angeles, and most of them are comedians and voiceover artists as well. All right, you guys, we're going to get over to that show very soon here. I just wanted to remind you, we are playing Story Smash at the Lyric Hyperion on Saturday, December 21st. And I sure hope you can come. The tickets are available now at storysmashshow.com and at my other websites like christineblackburn.com and storyworthypodcast.com. So you guys check it out and get your tickets, because this show, I have Danny Zucker and Blanca Patch as the expert judges, and joining them is actress Wendy McClendon-Covey from the new hit sitcom St. Denis Medical. It's a really funny show. If you guys haven't seen it yet, it's on it's on NBC, and it's darn funny. You're gonna love it. All right, you guys, so wherever you are, put your hands together for Storytelling Sundays at Flappers in Burbank. Oh, great to see you guys. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Holly. Yes, it's true. She mentioned that I've been podcasting for 14 years. It's true. And I have made hundreds of dollars. So I'm wealthy, I'll say that. A little more about me. I recently turned 50. And then a few weeks later, I turned 58. I'm also a MILF.
Yeah.
At the Mom in Los Feliz.
I like that.
And I moved to Los Angeles 27 years ago, this past August. So I'm over 27 years. How many of you guys have lived here over a decade? That's a lot. Has anybody lived here over 20 years? Wow. Is anybody from LA?
Yeah.
Wow, you're the one. I've always wondered. Well, when I moved here, an ad in the LA Weekly caught my eye. Now, the LA Weekly was an entertainment newspaper. And a newspaper was that paper that there was writing on it. And we got our, anyway, there was an ad for upbeat, sparkling personalities to be contestants on the dating game. And I thought, wait a second, I'm upbeat. I have a sparkling personality. This is me. So I went to the open house, which was being held at Sunset Gower Studios. And, it went well. And I should tell you, when I went to this open house, I did wear a long blonde wig. I was wearing a wig because I'd only been out of chemotherapy. Don't be serious. I'm here. I'd only been out of chemotherapy for like 6 weeks, and I really didn't have much hair at all. Very little hair. I looked like I was in the Navy, really. Anyway, that night after the open house, I got a call from the producer, Jackie, and she said, Christine, you were amazing. We loved you, but why were you in disguise? I said, oh my gosh, was that obvious? So I told her what was going on, and of course she felt bad. And she goes, come to my office tomorrow so I can see you without your wig. And I'm like, oh boy. I mean, I feel, naked without it. I just don't know. But, she's a producer on the dating game. So she must know what she's talking about. So the next day I went back to Sunset Gower lot. I met with Jackie. She said, take off your hat. I did. She said, oh, you're cute. You're fine. Christine, we want you on the show. But you can't wear your wig. Sure. And I say, okay, that's no problem, because again, I think I'm going somewhere, I figure out, like, in my head, I'm thinking, well, like, Farrah Fawcett, Suzanne Summers, even Ron Howard, a lot of people had been on the dating game, and this could be my big break, too. So the very next week, I end up on the Sunset Gower lot as Bachelorette number 2. I am wearing black hip hikers and a tiger print tank top, and I have on no wig, of course. I look ridiculous. I get there, Jackie says hello, I say hello, and she says, I'm so glad you're here, you look amazing. But then she takes out of her pocket a little bread, like a little bread with Velcro, and it was made of Velcro, and it was really for a 6-month-old baby. That's what it was for. And she stuck it in my hair. In the little bit of hair I had, she stuck it right there. I looked insane. So we were the 5th show to tape that day. So I spent the whole day backstage with the other 2 bachelorettes. Bachelorette number 1 told me immediately that she was lesbian, and she liked my haircut. Bachelorette number 3 was beautiful. She had this long, dark mahogany hair. She was a UC Santa Barbara cheerleader, and she was wearing this light blue outfit that had feathers on it. I mean, I would have picked her in a second. At one point, we saw Chuck Woolery, the host, out in the hallway, and I was a big fan. It was my first celebrity sighting. So I wasn't a fan, but this was exciting. I said, Chuck, your stuff is amazing. I love your shows. And he didn't look at me. He stared straight down, moving quickly. God damn it, we're late again. Finally, it was our turn to tape. Now, if you remember the dating game, if you've seen it, there's 3 stools for the bachelorettes, and then there's this wall that separates us from the actual bachelor. And this will serve me well. The questioning begins. Bachelorette number 2, that's me. We are on a date, and you're a cat. What does it sound like? And I'm in my tiger print shirt. And I'm like, and a few more silly questions go by, and now it's the break. And the 2 girls sitting on either side of me both looked at me and both said, oh, you so won. oh, you so won. And I'm like, I know. You guys are lame. And sure enough, we get back and they announce I am the winner. Bachelor number 2. So the other 2 girl goes out. The other 2 girls go out before me, say hello to the Bachelor. And then they introduce the Bachelor. Get ready, Christine, because Jeff loves sports, lives by the beach, is a lawyer, and loves sports. Yeah, he mentioned that. Come on out, Christine. And I walk out around the curtain, and I'm like, oh, my God. Like, he's really good looking. Like, he looks like Sting to me. And I'm thinking, he's going to be so pissed. He's probably so pissed because he just saw that cheerleader. And here I am with this baby ribbon in my hair. I mean, but he's nice to me. And he's nice to me. And I go over and he gives me a hug. And then Chuck Lorre says, get ready, Jeff and Christine, because you're going to Tucson, Arizona. And now I'm pissed. I mean, first I had cancer, and now I have to go to Tucson. So then we do the kiss. Wow, we do the kiss off the stage, and everybody claps, and then the lights go out, and the audience is leaving, and Chuck Lorre is sprinting to his car. And they kicked me and Jeff out of Sunset Gower Line. They gotta push us right out there onto Sunset Boulevard. We were just like looking at each other. And he says, hey, do you want to go to Denny's? Like right there. Yeah, I'll go to Denny's. So we go over there and we get like Grand Slams or whatever. And he was so nice. He is so nice. He was so great. And he is a lawyer and he does live by the beach. And he doesn't even seem to notice my bald head. It was great. I hadn't had a date or anything like that for so long. I'm like, this is unbelievable. This is like the crazy Hollywood story. And we leave the restaurant together, and he says, do you want to come down to my place in Redondo? And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know this city. I'd only been here a couple of weeks. And yes, of course, I'll go with you to Redondo. Of course. So I follow him. I'm in a Toyota Celica. He's in a Jeep. All the way down to Redondo, get into his apartment, start drinking red wine. We're making out. I haven't been with anybody in a long time. We're making out. He's running his fingers across my scalp. And all of a sudden he stops and he said, wait a second. I need to tell you something. It's about my relationship. And I'm like, oh, no, it's fine. Don't be silly. Okay, yeah, sure. No. I mean, I went on the show as a joke. I'm bald. He says, no, I don't mean that, Christine. I mean my relationship with Christ. Huh. Could you give me another glass of wine? Could you bring me the bottle of wine, please? Next thing you know, we are making out, but it stops. I find myself going to sleep in his bed with all my clothes on. I wake up in the morning. He is not there with me. I tiptoe out to the living room, and he's there in the recliner with his Bible on his lap. And that's adorable. And I'm happy for him, but it's not really my path, and so I leave the apartment quietly, and here's the upshot, you guys. Jeff and I become really good friends, like really good friends, and now we're 27-year-long friends. And so you can say in some way I did get my first big break in Los Angeles by meeting a good friend on the dating game. And now there's this really good show on Netflix about the dating game and the serial killer. It's on the show. It's so good. Anna Kendrick, you gotta see it. All right, you guys, we're going to get started right away and bring on the next storyteller. This guy is an actor and a comedian. He's best known for commercials and his lounge act, Velvet Tom. You can listen to new weekly episodes of his podcast, Fat Timing with Velvet Tom. Please welcome the very talented Tom Farnan. Hey, who's sitting in the audience? Picking up an audience not seeing. We gotta go back. Here he comes again. Big round of applause.
Christine, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sarah and Helen. for hosting tonight. Good to be back in the Yoo-Hoo room. I guess I'll get right to it. I'm going to tell you a story about how I found out that my uncle was temporarily a member of his Ku Klux Klan chapter. So white supremacy, real timely. So it was the summer of '91. I was just finishing up my first year at Maple Woods Community College in Kansas City, Missouri, and I didn't really want to go to college. I really just wanted to move to Chicago, join Second City, and be on Saturday Night Live. And since you haven't seen me on TV, we know how that went. It was a good time. So I had to write this paper. I had to write this term paper that was due for a history class. It was 80% of my grade. So if I write the paper, then I'm golden. I can pass the class. And it was for a history class that I really, really liked. So I didn't want to procrastinate writing this paper. Of course I did. I totally did. I went into the 11th and a half hour to write that paper. It was for a history teacher that I really, really liked. He was a Brooklynite, New York transplant, and he looked and sounded just like Jerry Orbach. So every history lesson was from Lenny Briscoe or Baby's dad. I don't know, Victor Orbach, you know. And the assignment was interview a veteran and write a paper about their military experience. So I still had some veterans alive at the time. So my mom, she said, you should talk to your Uncle Russ if you want some action-packed war stories. And my Uncle Russ was one of four of her brothers, all who served in Europe during World War II. Of course, it wasn't their choice because my four uncles, as my mom put it, were hellraisers. And by the time they turned 18, the local judge said it's either Hitler or the Huskow for you. So what they practiced was forced valor. So all these men were forced to go to World War II and face down fascism. So they were all ready to go. Sign me up for Hitler. So I go to Independence, Missouri, where my uncle and aunt Alice live in a gated upscale trailer park community. And I pull up to their double wide, and Aunt Alice is waiting for me. She's got her burgundy beehive and her thinly applied orange lipstick on, and we hug and kiss, and I give her some pictures that Mom would give to me, and she says that Russ is very, very excited to tell you about his war days. I'm equally excited. I get in and I sit down to a chair that's already put in sort of their living/dining room because there's not a lot of space in a double wide. But I sit down there and there's a hospital bed there in the middle of the room. And then I see my Uncle Russ, and he's wearing his like little soda jerk military veteran hat on, a wife beater, boxers, and nothing else. And he's waddling out of the back bedroom with his walker that has an oxygen tank connected to it, and he's got hoses going to his nose. So he finds his way to the long end of the bed, and he kind of sits down there. And I realize now that my uncle is in hospice care, but we really didn't talk about it because no one talked about shit then. So I just kind of let it be. And we got right into it. And the first thing he said was serving in World War II were some of the best days of my life. He got to serve alongside his brother, my Uncle Cy, and they got to be in Patton's 1st Armored Division and driving Sherman tanks all over the place. And he tells me the story about after we survived D-Day, we were deployed to Northern Africa, where I, quote, chased Rommel's ass all over that son of a bitch. and after that, he was deployed to Italy. And as he tells it, he was rolling into Milan, tanks in a row rolling in, and we get to the town square, and right there at the town square is Mussolini and 2 other people of his cabinet hanging upside down, dead, bullets, and they're just hanging there in the town square. And they leave them hanging there for days, and people who are angry with fascism walk by, hit the dead body, and go on with their day. And my Uncle Russ is telling me this, like, we had these Nazi assholes on the run. Like, he is, like, back in it, and he is very, very excited about telling me all this. And then he says, one of my friends found a camera in the rubble that still worked, still had film. starts taking pictures of Mussolini. All of the, all of the rubble around and everything. And then he hands his camera over to a CO. CO runs it up to command the Department of Military. And then those pictures end up on the cover of Life magazine. Now, they didn't end up on the cover of Life magazine. That was an embellishment, but they did end up in the pages of Life magazine. But my uncle said, "Do you want to see a picture?" Sends in Alice back, and he's like, "Go get my Bible by my bedside." Then come back with a King James Bible, comes back with a Masonic Bible. And that picture is bookmarking a page, and everybody sit down and shows it to me. I'm like, there it is, black and white. Mussolini dead, upside down. It turns it over, shows me the Department of Military seal. It's like a real thing. And then I hand it back to him, and they'll talk about his Masonic Bible. And I'm like, "So you're a Mason?" I'm like, "I'm a Shriner." And I go, "Oh, yes, you wore the funny hat that drove around in the little cars at the St. Patrick's Day parade." And he was thrilled to tell me about that, too. He's like, "Yes, I'm a Shriner. I'm a war hero. This guy looks good on paper." And I'm like, "Well, that was a really great story." And then Aunt Alice speaks up. And she goes, "Him being a Shriner was the best thing because he raised money for sick kids. He helped build Shriners Hospital. And he had this wonderful thing." And she said that Shriners was the best thing that happened to him because it certainly overshadowed his time in the Klan. Why would you mention that? Aunt Alice, and there was silence in the room, and he shot her daggers, and he was like, "Why would you say that?" And I said, "You were in the Klan?" He was like, "Yeah, for a few months. Cy and I were in the Klan. If you don't remember, my uncles were reprobates. So yeah, they're going to come home and join the hate group, okay?" So that's what it was. Disenfranchised soldiers came back after feeding global hate and was courted by local hate. And so they got involved. And so I asked, "So why only for like a few months?" And my uncle said, "Well, they were a little pushy." And then my aunt chimes in. She goes, "Oh, Tommy, you wouldn't believe they would come around here all hours of the night, banging on our windows, 3 a.m. And then Uncle Russ chimes in on the act out. And he's like, "Hey, yeah, we're going to go burn the cross on so-and-so's yard. You want to join us?" And he's like, "I got to get up for work in 3 hours." So my Uncle Russ quit the Klan because the Klan was like so annoying. And that is the flexibility. He said, "Look, we weren't into the other stuff. We just want to hang around, have a few drinks, and call people some names. We knew what else is going on. We didn't want to be a part of it." And so we went ahead and quit. And I guess that is progress at a time when a casual bigot can just quit the Klan. When 91, the Klan is still a joke and a punchline, and that has sort of shifted. So what I say is that laughter is the evidence of freedom. So keep on laughing at Nazis. Because I know that my uncle did, even though that they served with valor and came home American heroes. Even some heroes don't wear capes. Some of them might have wore hoods, too. So, well, that's the end of my story. Thank you very much. I'm going to bring your host, Christine, back to the page.
Farnan! Opening up this show with some Nazi material. All right. All right, you guys, this next guy coming to stage, he's a comedian, actually, and he did improv with iOS until they closed. And then he did sketch and improv comedy with Second City Hollywood until they closed. And last summer, he came to Story Smash, the storytelling game show, my game show. Who knows Story Smash? It's unbelievable, if I do say so myself. Anyway, this guy comes to Story Smash. His name gets pulled out of the bucket. And then you won the show. What? The audience person never wins the show. The audience person usually sucks, I'll be honest with you. But this guy won. So please give him a big round of applause, David Neale.
Thank you so much, everybody. I just had one thought on the way over here, and it was just that I think it's irresponsible that we have not established an average dick energy. I think what we need to do is have a talk about that. But now to the stories. I'm going to cross that one off the list. So I was a late bloomer. I was 4'11" until I was 60. I didn't start 4'11". My mom wasn't like, yeah, no, I was just a tiny little goblin for most of my life. I'm actually just now developing my breasts. And so in middle school, I was even smaller than 4'11". I was absolutely tiny. And when you're tiny in middle school, you only have two options to survive. And those two options are you either have to be as brash and as angry as the tall kid, so they're just as scared of you, or you have to be small and quiet and out of the way to not get any attention. So I obviously went with gregarious and desperate. Thank you. Thank you. Love me. Love me. So, in middle school, maybe you guys actually recognize me now that I've done some of my acts for you. I did play the titular role in Smear the Queer. Yes. Now, I feel like it was stolen valor. I am straight, but it was 1999 and a lot of straight men were playing queer roles. Now, I was like Brie. So I was pale, smelly, and would run at the slightest pressure. And when I was frustrating the students, it was because I would go off of the script. You know, middle schoolers only have like 12 reactions to things because most of our details at the time were Pokemon oriented. And at the time, you had to follow the script. And this particular script began like this. Two girls walked by me in middle school, and they did not like me. So, of course, I had to say hello. They ignored me, walked away. Great job. And then two other girls minutes later came back and said, Felicity and Aaron said that you were staring at their asses, Kareem. And I was bereft because I was a gentle goblin. And also, I had no sexual curiosity at that point. Those floodgates had not opened yet. Oh, it was the next year when they did. Oh, we're going to save the kids. But, and the people who control my sexual impulses are, in fact, German. So there is a script, and the script is you were looking at their asses, Creep, and I said, I was going to react. But I didn't follow the script this time. So what I said was, it's confrontation time. And I ran away. And then who do you go to for guidance when you're in middle school? Who do you turn to rap about morals and ethics? Yes, of course. To mediate this discussion, I turned to the 8th grade Christian clique. Yes, I walked over to a group of kids who were all Christian. I said, brothers and sisters, there has been a transgression. I have been borne false witness against. Please, I think it's time I need one set of footprints. And that is all of you carrying me. And I took 10 people with me. And Felicity and Aaron look over to see a battalion of white optimism headed their way. And in front of, they had armed with them teen Bibles with translations in the margins, like God taught his son to Ali so he could be fit for all of our sins. And they were on their way, and they looked to be seemingly led by Gollum with a lot of swagger. Because I knew how, even at that age, how to break a middle schooler. And that was unwanted public attention. And I brought all of my little Templars with me. Because, I'm sorry, just because I was being bullied, were you expecting redeeming character traits? No, we went over, and I brought my little Templars with me, and of course, the lead Christian floats up to the girls, and he is chosen as the leader for his recitation of scripture and his most ultimate of frisbees. And he came up and he said, hey, I heard a little bit that there was some bullying going on over here. And she said, yeah, David was staring at our asses. This perturbed them because the one thing Christians really deal well with is other people's perspectives. And just safety God. So when I was talking to them, they said, he was looking at our asses and I had a defense locked and loaded. No. She said, yes, you did. When we were walking by, you said, hello, ladies. My gregariousness. Damn it. But that's not exactly what I said. I felt really angry at this point. I was turning red with heat. I was so frustrated. I was ready to go on the offensive. No, I did not stare at your asses. If you had looked around to watch and listened to me, you would have heard me say, hello, my ladies. It is British, it is polite, and the only reason my head was at that angle was because I was doffing my top hat, bitch. Should we pray now? I kind of entered the highway at the wrong entrance, and it was the first time I'd ever used the B word, and I didn't mean to do it so well. Everyone's faces dropped, and I saw on the other people, on the Christians' faces, someone like your faces tonight. I'm nice, but I do want to beat this man. I walked away realizing that I was the bad guy in this situation. I was 12. She attacked me, and I brought a holy war. I'm Netanyahu'd a little girl. Sorry if that's exactly what's happening. I couldn't believe it. I walked away knowing exactly what I had done. I had gone to a load of religious people, give them a bunch of vagaries and maxims, and then they followed me to attack a much cooler and confident woman. That doesn't remind me of anything in the news at all. Thank you. Now, I just want to tell one more quick story really fast, and this is my shortest date ever. My shortest date in the world went just like this. We were sitting down with coffee, and I asked her what she did for a living, and she said, I'm a sexual assault nurse. And I said, that's no way to nurse somebody. Hey, thanks, guys, so much. I love
it. Neale. I can't believe you won Story Smash. That's a joke. Comedy club. They do comedy around here. That's what I've heard. All right, you guys, this storyteller coming up right now. She's a writer, and she's won the Moth. She's also appeared on Soul Pancake and the Risk podcast. She performs storytelling all over Los Angeles, and she hosts the Chill Vibe Storytelling Open Mic at the Lyric Iberian every Saturday. For Sunday, one or the other. Please, put your hands together for the very talented Jen Curcio.
It's on Saturdays. Buckle up. We're going on a big, long gay journey. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. When I was in high school, I was like a holy terror. Every teacher hated me, because I would just walk into any random classroom and I would be like, can I get a round of applause? Until the kids finally just did it. And the teacher would be like, you're not in this class, get out. And then one day I ran into my friend's sculpture class and I was like, can I get it? And then I saw her. She looked like Juliana Margulies. And I was like, who is that? Is that your teacher? And my friend was like, no, that's just a kid that looks old. And I was like, I think I'm bisexual or something. And my friend was like, really? And I was like, yeah, I got feelings right now. I got a boyfriend, but I got feelings. And she was like, okay, well, what you have to do is you got to go on bus 18 and talk to Jill. And so I was like, you know what? I don't even care if I'm not on bus 18. I'm going to get right up on that school bus. And I did. And the bus driver was like, you're not on this bus. And I was like, don't worry, I do this all the time. And I just like walked through the aisle until I saw someone with a rainbow bracelet on. And I was like, you must be Jill. And she was like, how did you know? And I was like, rainbow bracelet. And I was like, look, like, I think I'm bisexual or something. Like, what do I do about this? And she was like, okay, so what you have to do? Go into the senior hallway, locker 248, talk to Steph. She'll know what to do. And I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. It's okay. So the next day I go, thank you though. So the next morning I go up to the locker, to the senior hallway. And I was a freshman, and I remember the senior guy was like, what is that smell? A freshman is here. And like, it didn't deter me. I was like, I'm on a mission. I have to figure this out. So I find locker 248, and Steph is standing there also with the rainbow bracelet. And I was like, you must be Steph. And she was like, rainbow bracelet. And she was like, I heard about you. You're the freshman that might be bisexual. And I said, yeah, what do I do? And she was like, I'll pick you up Friday at 8. So I went home that Friday. I went rollerblading. That's how long ago it was. And I told my mom, I was like, hey, I'm going out. Do you want to know where I'm going? And she was like, honestly, no. Because I was such a lame child. Like, I didn't do anything. So she was like, whatever. I don't think you're going to do anything bad. Go ahead. So Steph pulls up in our 88 Cutlass, and I get in. And I'm like, where are we going? And she's like, Amish country. And exactly. I was like, what do the Amish have to do with this? And she was like, you'll see. The plot thickens. So we start driving from like just outside of Philadelphia, deep in the Amish country. And we pull up to an Amish hot dog stand. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, what's going to happen? What are we doing? And just a child is working this Amish hot dog stand, because that's how the Amish roll. Their businesses are always run by children. No offense to them. It's really smart, you know? And so we go and we buy 24 hot dogs. And I'm like, what's going to happen with these hot dogs? And she's like, wait for it. And I'm like, getting a little bit nervous. Some of you are too. Don't worry. So we continue driving. And we get to just a cornfield. And we like go on like a dirt road through this cornfield, and we get to a house, and I'm like, who the hell lives in this house? This scary cornfield house. We knock on the door, and this delightful middle-aged couple answer. And she's like, here are your hot dogs. Is Tracy home? And they're like, Tracy's in the basement. So we're like, okay, cool. And so we go in the basement. And I'm like a little bit nervous because I'm like, who's Tracy? What's happening? Tracy looks like Jennifer Beals. And I was like, 100%, I'm gay. Let's go. So we eat Amish hot dogs. We all eat like 2 to 3 hot dogs. And then Tracy like has a conversation with me. She's like, so I heard you're thinking about being bisexual. And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm bisexual. And she's like, okay, well, let's see how it goes. And we have a tickle fight. We just have like the most ruckus tickle fight. Like, I'm sweating. Like, we're all like glistening with sweat. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm 100% like gay. Like, just driving right past bisexuality into gaydom. And I'm like, yeah, I think this is it. I'm good. I think I can go home. So we get back into Steph's car. And we drive, and coincidentally, we go to my elementary school. And I'm like, wow, this is like a twist. I didn't know I would like come back to like my childhood again. And she's like staring at me, and I'm staring at her, and she's like, so should we do this? Should we make out a little bit? And I was like, yeah. So I like, we lean in towards each other to kiss. and those Amish hot dogs come back up. And like right before like we're like this, and I just turn my head and I projectile vomit so violently it splashes on the dashboard, splashes back onto us, and I just like fin down because I'm like, let's keep this going, and I start throwing the vomit out the window, and she's like, you know what? I think we need to like put a pause on this. Let's do this again next week. And I was like, fair enough. And then, we like made out the next week, but cut to like 15 years later, I'm telling this story at another show in North Hollywood, and a man in the back just screams, are you talking about Sarah Higgins? And I was like, oh my God, yes, I am. And Sarah Higgins was the girl from the art class who looked like Juliana Marleeds. And I was like, yes, sir, I am. And he was like, I need to talk to you. It's so important. And I'm like, oh my God, why is this journey coming back so fast at me? So after the show, he's like super drunk and he's like, she's married a total asshole. He talks about football and the stock market all the time. She lives in New York. I need you to book airfare and go wreck that marriage. You're a cool lesbian in a leather jacket with ripped jeans. Go. And I was like, you're right. And I went home and I got on Orbitz, and I would have bought that ticket if it wasn't for that pesky student loan coming out of my account. So I had no money. And I was like, you know what? Maybe my therapist was right. I need to stop being so damn wild. And a month later, I met my wonderful girlfriend. That's my story.
Curcio, let her hear it. That was awesome. All right, guys, this next storyteller coming up, she's an amazing talent. Truly, you guys, a voiceover actress here in Los Angeles, and she spent more than 20 years voicing for film, television, dubbing, and video games. She produces her own live storytelling series and podcast called I Love a Good Story. She's been doing that for 11 years, and but she's most proud of her performance as herself on the mega hit ABC television series Shark Tank. Lauri and her sister pitched their father's invention, Hugo's amazing tape, and they got a deal. That's show business, folks. Please welcome Lauri Fraser.
Right. Well, he answered for that. Who needs a story? Thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh, thanks for coming out to storytelling. Yeah. It's pretty awesome, isn't it? Yeah. But I gotta tell you, okay, I had no idea when I said yes to my bookkeeper, Jean, coming to live with me, what I was in for. I mean, I'm a pretty private person for the most part. So why I decided to even take in a roommate is beyond me, a mystery. But when Jean said she just needed a place, when she comes from Texas, she's so weird now, comes from Texas, and she does books for us all for 4 times a year. She just needed a place to pretty much rent a room, just sleep, a week out of it a month, and she wouldn't even be here all that much. I thought, well, this is a pretty good idea. She loved my dog. She offered to walk her, but was never in a pinch, driving out. So I thought, well, this is a good thing. All right, so we wrote up a contract, and we decided 30 days, we didn't have to say why or what. We could just disintegrate this contract. And she would not sue me, no love loss. She would not sue me for anything, even if my dog Dipper, she took a hunk out of her shoes or her face in the middle of the night. So, okay. So I'm walking my dog in the morning, and I'm thinking, it's so weird that Jean said, ask me if I mind having meat if her mind of her having meat in my refrigerator, since I'm pretty much a vegetarian, I thought, I'm not crazy vegetarian. I mean, I'm not a big vegan. I just don't make me have a little, ham or something, something a cat. So I get a call. Hey, it's Jean. I hope it's okay if I put a few things in the bedroom, like my bed and table and sewing machine. Yeah, it's her room. She's renting it. Okay, so I leave her home. I give her privacy for the day, and I come in, and and Jane, nobody. You around? I go upstairs, knock on the little door. Jane, Lauri, nothing. So I decide, I'm just gonna peek in. I open the door. Open the door. I look at it. What the hell? There's a bed, a table, and a sewing machine. Oh, they're all in here somewhere. Oh my God, is that like a pub tent? What is that? It's like a release and is that a stuffed box? Is it a taxidermy thing? Oh my God. I shut the door. But Lauri, just chill. It's her room. It's not yours. She's renting it. It's fine. It's fine. I thought, oh my God, is this the beginning? Is her stomach just gonna expand out into the hallway like one of those sponges you buy at the side of a quarter? You put a little water on it, turns into the side of the couch. Oh God, what am I doing? I put my hands against the wall. I go downstairs. There's a voicemail from Jean. Hey, I hope you don't mind. I just put a couple of things in the fridge and the cupboard. See you around 7-ish. Bye. It's covered. What is that? Well, it's like food I don't eat. That's foreign food. Ritz crackers? That's like hydrogenated oil and white flour, isn't it? Was it Slim Jim? Was something just with meat? What's that? It's a cheese whiz? It's fine. It's all fine. It's all going to be fine. I open the fridge. It's foreign food. It's like food I don't eat, okay? Liverwurst, what's that? Chopped liver in a package? And what? Bacon. Okay, not bacon. A slab of bacon. I have never seen bacon that much. It's a duffel bag full. I have not in a butcher shop. Are there still butcher shops? I just, my tofu and veggies are cowering in the corner, waiting to ruffle. It's not heard that. She's on the door. I open the freezer. There it is, the rest of the cow. Oh my God, when Jean told me they slaughter a cow every year and they, eat it all winter, I had no idea she was going to bring it into my house. There's a ton. There's taste buds on both this side of the refrigerator. Oh, and some things I just don't recognize. Okay. So I started, I dealt with it. It's all fine. It's all cool. But I started getting resentful. Now, Jean is she's a tall, beautiful blonde woman with big blue sparkly eyes. And every time she says Texas, she always winks and moves her shoulder forward. Oh, honey, if you ate beef, I could bring you some good, good old-fashioned Texan beef. I just didn't know what to do. And, the thing is that she's a good roommate and everything, but I just started to get upset. I didn't want to be upset, but she was my bookkeeper. I had to make her happy. I didn't want to be upset. I'm allowed to get numbers. I do a really mean numerology chart, but as far as oh my God, I can't, no, I can't. Numbers. Balancing the checkbook, not mine forte. No. So I need her to be happy. And the thing is, I thought, okay, I eat organic. And she eats organs. And then something happened. See, Jean drives this big diesel truck. Oh my God. My dog, when she pulls in, you can just she has the horns on the hood, no kidding, and the mud flaps, the girls have mud flaps, and she's, she's a good person. And then I came home, and this is what happened. There was a big basket on my doorstep, and it was filled with these wonderful things, and it was to Jean. It was from an animal foundation. Oh, isn't that something? That's a beautiful basket. Well, yeah, I think it has your name on it. Oh, it's from the place that I volunteer for at the shelter. I come and I take care of the animals and I feed them and I make them blankets, whatever they need. They're such sweet people and it's for me, Collins. Well, that's really nice of you. Oh, honey, I have 4 horses in Texas. I love the animals much more than I love the people. Wow. You know, when Jean told me that the cow, is like the Indians. They use it for sustenance, but like the Indians, they use every part of the cow. Jean's not upstairs shaving it down her bone to make a bow and arrow, but I thought, you know what, this is an opportunity for me to see another person's way, even though it's not my way, So the next weeks passed, and I got used to, the slab of bacon cooking on the grill. She got used to the smell of broccoli, which can smell like farts. Okay? And, she's a good roommate. And, every Wednesday she makes flower arrangements. She takes a class and she brings home this beautiful flower arrangement. And, I don't know. The neighbors don't know what to make of us. She towers over me and my boyfriend. I'm sure they think 2 dykes and a houseboy living in and the horns on the, top of her hood don't deter them. But right now she's in Texas. So it's just me and my dog and Bessie in the freezer. Thank you.
That was wonderful. I'm so glad I didn't do my cow story tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, this next storyteller coming on the stage right now. He's a writer and a performer and the co-host of the podcast Two Old Queens. He teaches at the Upright Citizens Brigade, and he wrote a musical parody of Stephen King's book It, which just won the LA Ovation Award for Best Book or Musical. He also wrote the book I hold in my left hand, Baked, by the fabulous John Flynn. Please put your hands together for John Flynn.
Thank you. So my story happened about 20 years and 30 pounds ago. So just keep that in mind as you're imagining it. So at that time, I was living in New York City, and I was just like a young, hopeful chorus boy who just had wide eyes and was just looking for love in the big city. And one day I get a call out of the blue asking if I would like to join the national tour of the musical Chorus Line for the last, and it had been on the road for a year and a half. It was the last 2 weeks of its run in Hawaii. And without asking any other questions, I said yes, because first of all, I was getting paid to go to Hawaii. I was doing Chorus Line, which is a musical I had done before, so I already knew it, so I didn't have to learn anything. And also, for those of you who don't know Chorus Line, the whole show is it's a bunch of dancers auditioning for a show. So the first 15 minutes is the last sort of round of auditions, and then 7 dancers get cut and you never see them again. I was going to be one of those dancers. So it's essentially getting paid to do a mediocre job of dancing for 10 minutes in Hawaii. So it was great, perfect. And also, I was thinking to myself, National Tour Chorus Line, probably some other homosexuals there. Maybe I might find some love or at least a good time. So I head out to Hawaii thinking this is going to be the perfect job. And I get there and I quickly realize, no, this was actually not the perfect job, because the reason why they needed someone to come and perform just the last 2 weeks of the run was because there was a virus going to the company. And a lot of people were getting sick and throwing up some sort of green bile, and some people were even shitting blood. So there was a pall over the entire company. Also, as I said, this had been on the road. The show had been on the road for a year and a half. Everyone was sick of the show. They were sick of each other. They didn't want to hang out with anyone else in case they might get sick. So no one was investing any time getting to know the new guy. So the only person I really hung out with was my roommate, this guy named Matt. And Matt is a guy I like to describe as a professional homosexual, because Matt is gay, it is his job, and he doesn't want to get fired. Matt always knows what fetish nights are happening in every single bar in New York. He can always tell you what understudies were going on at Wicked or Mamma Mia. And what I would find out later was that Matt would end all of his emails or his voicemail messages by going, "Wee!" Very dedicated to his homosexuality. So Matt had been with the tour from the beginning, and he told me that when the tour started, he made it a personal mission of his to have sex with a different guy in every single state they visited, because they were going to all 50 states, and he wanted to be able to say he had hooked up with a guy in every single state in the country. And I pointed out to him, like, well, not only, and so he had kept up that goal, so now all he had to do is cross Hawaii off of his list. And I pointed out to him, like, well, not only have you had sex with a guy in every single state of the country, you have also performed the musical chorus line in every single state of the country, so you are twice as gay as you think you are. Which, of course, he's like, and, being a chorus boy, professional homosexual, Matt was a very good-looking guy, very good shape, but, attractive in a sort of bland chorus boy way, sort of like sexy cream cheese. But I was sort of like, okay, maybe I could be the guy that Matt hooks up with when he's in Hawaii, but we're in Hawaii. But then Matt sort of asked me if I would be his wingman to help him find someone to hook up with. I sort of like hurt a little bit, but I said, of course, sure, no problem. And, my plan was just be as cute as possible and just hang out, and maybe he'd turn around and he'd figure out I was the one. So, I started doing the show in the next, almost 2 weeks, and, it's fine. It's course line. I do a mediocre job of dancing, then go home. But afterwards, after the show, Matt's not having any luck in Hawaii. There's no stage door Johnnies hanging out to see him. There's any place we go, there's no one there. So, it's kind of getting desperate. And so finally it gets to our last weekend. So our final show was on a Sunday. It was a matinee. So what we were supposed to do on Sunday morning, we were supposed to check out of our hotel, bring all of our luggage to the theater, do the matinee. And then once the show was over, they were taking everyone to the airport and flying us all home. So Saturday night, the night before, that was do or die time. It was like, all right, we got to do it tonight or it's not happening. So I, found my cutest little outfit that was easy to take off. But right before the show, Matt comes up and he says, like, all right, I got the name of the bar from one of the local stagehands. And I was like, that seems like a dubious source, but all right. So after the show, again, this was 20 years ago, so we called a cab, and they took us 40 minutes to this bar. And we get there, and I'm like, immediately, I don't think this is a gay bar, because there were a lot of women there, and a lot of the men were paying attention to them, and they weren't singing. So after a few drinks, I go up to the bartender, and I'm like, hey, I'm just curious, no big deal, no reason, but is this a gay bar by any chance? And he thinks about it for a second, and he goes, no, I guess it's not. But that was weird, because usually, it's not like a thing that you have to wonder about. Anyway. So I'm like, all right, that's cool. Do you happen to know of any gay bars around here? And he thinks for a second. He's like, yeah, I guess there's this one place. So I was like, all right. So he calls us a car. We drive another 20 minutes to this other bar. We get there and it's closed because someone has rented it out for a Sweet 16 party. I know, right? 16-year-olds ruining everything. So, we say to our cab driver, we're like, hey, we're trying to find a gay bar. Do you know of any places around here that we go to? And he thinks for a second. He's like, I don't know. There's this one place that has karaoke. And we're like, great. Let's just take it there. So we're driving another 20 minutes to our third bar of the night. And as we're driving, we're a little drunk. And, Matt's just like sort of going off in the backseat of the car. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with Hawaii? Like, I got laid in South Dakota. What the fuck can I find a guy to hook up with in Hawaii? And then the cab driver asks a question that I'm sure any straight person in this situation would ask. And he just goes like, you guys want to have sex? Why don't you just fuck each other? And I'm all like, oh, what? What? That's what? You just try, mister. Oh, and so I'm like, I die again inside. So we finally get to this bar. And not only is it a karaoke bar, it is a country western themed karaoke bar in Hawaii. So we found the unicorn of gay bars. But so we walk in and there's a karaoke stage over there, and there were 7 Asian girls singing Seasons of Love from Brent as we walked in. There was a dance floor that no one was dancing on, but there was a disco saddle over it, someone had taken the saddle and glue little disco squares all over it. It was slowly rotating. And we go over to the bar. The bartender is this short, plump, Hawaiian woman who's got a mini bleach blonde beehive, and we walk over and she's like, what do you boys want to drink? And Matt goes, maybe something strong. I like my something strong isn't the pretty. I like my drinks like I like my men. And I noticed two guys like near from the bar from the like, why do they stay on the AK? So we sit down to the bartender like, fingers out, we're not from around there. So, you know, she's totally like giving us the whole thing. She's like making us drinks and serving them to us in like coconuts and pineapples, and just like getting us wasted. We're having the best time. And then at a certain point, the karaoke ends. It just becomes like a regular sort of dance club. So that happens. Matt like hops off his stool. He's like, I'm going in. And he like heads out to the dance floor. And I'm sitting there just hanging out with the bartender. And I'm wasted at this point, you know, and we're just having like bartender 101 where I'm just like telling him my life story. And I'm just like, he doesn't even know it exists. It's so lazy. And she's like, oh, it's love. You got to go for it. You got to go for it. I'm like, you're so smart. Why are you in this bar in Hawaii? This is crazy. And then at one point she's like, I think your friend might actually need some help right now. She sort of gestures to the dance floor, and I see Matt is there, and then these like 3 or 4 other like guys around him were sort of like kind of like pushing him. And I'm like, oh shit. So like I get off my bar stool, I'm like walking over, and you know, in my mind I'm like, all right, lower your voice, keep your wrist firm. And again, I'm close to the guy, and I hear, you know, one of them screaming about like, get the fuck out of here, faggot. And so like I get in between them. I'm like, all right. Let's all go down. You know, there's no problem. Everything's fine. There's no problem here. The guy looks at me. He's like, oh, is this your faggot friend? Did you come here to spread your faggot AIDS around here? Well, before I can say anything from behind me, Matt goes, you can't get AIDS from dancing, asshole. It's true. Not really relevant at this moment. So this guy like goes to like punch me, but I use my dancer's agility to duck out of the way. And so because he like swang and like didn't connect with him, he sort of like trips and falls on his friend. And now suddenly like all these like bouncers swarm in now finally. And like, so these guys and these bouncers like fighting around Matt and I. And we're just in there like, oh, these men. And then I like catch eyes with the bartender, and she goes, "Run, you faggots!" It's like, I thought you were on our side. But we're really good at taking directions, so we run. We're like going down the end of the block, and there's like a 7-Eleven, and we call the car company, and the same guy who dropped us off here like 3 hours ago pissed us off, and he's like driving us back to our hotel, and he's like, so what happened? And we tell him the story, and he goes, this wouldn't happen if you two just fucked each other. And I want to be like, you just shut up and drive, mister. Okay. So it's around like 4 or 5 a.m. at this point, and so and our hotel was right by the water, right by the Pacific Ocean. So Matt and I decided we're going to like change into our bathing suits and just go way down into the ocean and like watch the sunrise. And we're like, that somehow salvage this horrible night. So we got into the water, and like, you know, like the water's looking on us, and, you know, watching the sunrise. It's like beautiful and whatever. We're just kind of quietly watching it. At one point, Matt just was like, I can't believe I didn't get laid in Hawaii. And I turned to him, and like the advice of the bartender, like, if it's love, you've got to go for it. It's like ringing in my ears. So I turned to him, and I grab him by the shoulders, and I say, I'll be your Miss Hawaii. And I lean in to kiss him, kind of make out for a second. And then he pushes me away. And he gets this weird sort of like look on his face. And then he just starts throwing up this green eye like, oh, I'm sorry, bro. That's right. I was like, oh, well, you seem to be okay with it. Luckily, we were in the ocean, so it was easy just to be like, but then Matt and I wordlessly just went back to our hotel, packed our bags, went to the final show, and flew back home. And unfortunately, neither Matt nor I got laid while we were in Hawaii. Oh. Thank you very much.
About bile kissing tonight. Is that it's a theme? You guys, there's only 2 storytellers left. Are you having a good time?
Yeah.
Great. I hope we get asked you back. Make sure you tell the piece of paper at the end. If you fill out a piece of paper, tell them how great you like the shows and all that. All right, you guys, this next storyteller, she's fantastic. She's won the moth 3 times. So, yeah, exactly. And she's a public transit vlogger. What? She's a public transit blogger. Her blog is called Tales from the Bus. She's also a linguist and fluent in English, Russian, and French, and she works in post-production. Please welcome the very talented Katya Duft.
No. So I'm pretty clumsy, right? I fall a lot, especially downstairs in Istanbul. So I have to look at the ground a lot, you know, and maybe that's why I find a lot of wallets, with wallet cards, keys, whatever. Even on my way here today in Uber, I found the wallet, but I let the driver deal with it because otherwise I wouldn't have made it here. I have a rule that I make my best effort to find the owner myself. Today I could do it. And how I came up with this rule. One time I went to a bar and found $60 on the floor, 320s, and there was a guy sitting right next to me, and asked him, is it yours? And he said, yeah, sure, thank you. And so it was very awkward when the actual owner of $60 showed up. We all had to pretend that we were. So anyways, I found a lot of stuff, and very often all I get is just thank you, but it's still satisfying. I know I did something great. And, but one time, I have to tell you this story. I almost lost my faith in need to find things and look for an owner and spend all this time. I worked for a production company in Culver City, and they always encouraged us to dress up for Halloween. So this was Halloween. I got dressed as a sexy cat. I had a short dress, ears, fishnet stockings, fishnet tights, and high-heeled boots. And as I told you in the beginning, I am very clumsy. So I brought an extra pair of tights and extra pair of shoes, knowing that I'll probably stumble somewhere and I'll probably ruin half of my outfit. So they encouraged us to work all day dressed in our costumes. So around lunch break, I was like, I'll just walk to Starbucks half a mile. It's okay in my costume, no problem. Let's get this out. Because, you know, it's a very, this is a neighborhood of variety and diversity. There is an elementary school, there is a gun store, there is a mall, you know. So I think it's not as scary seeing a girl in a sexy cat costume, not as scary seeing a person with a gun. So I started walking. And I walked and walked, and I walked by the school, by the mosque, by the gun store, and then I walked by this nondescript building, and I find a credit card. I pick it up, I look at the name, and I Google, and I realized that the person who owns this card is the CEO of whatever is behind this fence. Ooh. And I Googled their phone number, there are 2 numbers. I called both numbers, nobody picked up, and I'm like, but I really want to give the card back to the guy because it's my rule to find the owner. I don't want to trust anybody with that after that $60 situation. So I started walking around the building. There is no sign. Even though the online said this is a rehab, drug and alcohol rehab, I'm like, this just adds variety and diversity to the neighborhood more, I know. So I made circles. I still couldn't find any entrance. I tried to find a little gate, but there was no bell or anything. So I just knocked. Nobody opened. And I was like, well, I still have to somehow get to this guy. So I paid attention at the fence, and the fence was made out of this long wooden panels. And between them, there were little spaces. And I'm like, oh, I can use this fence. I can use this space as a ladder. So I climbed the fence. And once I climbed it and my head was showing on the other side, I could see a building. And the building was pretty close to the fence. And there's a window on the second floor and 2 ladies talking. So I started leaving them. At first, they didn't pay any attention to me. But then one of them saw me and pushed out other one, and they both stared. And one of them grabbed the phone and started dialing the number. And I'm like, shit, is she calling 911 or what? The other one grabbed a piece of paper and wrote something and stuck it to the window. It said, how can I help you? And I mean, she's pretty far from me to scream, so I showed this. And it probably looked like feed the cat. And I was like, okay, I don't want to, end up in the mental hospital, so I started doing this. So she opens the window and she said, what are these gestures? What do you want? And I said, does Andrew work here? She said, yeah, this is our CEO. What do you want? And I said, I found his credit card. Can I actually come in and give it to him? And she said, no, he's not in today, but I'll actually come around and grab it from you. And I said, no. I have a rule that I give people, I give their belongings just to people themselves. I said, I don't know who you are. She's like, excuse me, I'm his secretary. Give it to me. I'll come around and get it. I said, can I actually have his working phone number? I'll call him and I'll give it straight to him. She's like, lady, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I'm coming to get this card. So she comes around and grabbed the card out of my hands. And she said, I'm glad this is now resolved. This is a private institution. We can't have random people hang out here. And then she left without any thank you or anything. And I was standing there like, what? And the whole time I was standing on the fence. I was still standing there. And I'm like, I should probably start coming down. By that time, my both legs were dead. So, of course, I hurried down. I stumbled. I didn't land very well, and I broke one of my heels. And also, I tore my fishnet tights and scratched my knee. And Russian women of my generation, they don't walk down the street in torn ties and with broken heels. So I was very grateful to myself for bringing an extra pair of, tights and shoes to work. So I called my work friend and I said, Derek, I'm actually just 300 yards away. Could you bring me my extra pair of tights and my shoes? And he's like, I don't know what the girls in your department will say to that, but of course I'll try. So he goes to my cubicle, he fishes the tights and the shoes out of my bag, and he brings them to me to the building. And I remember the words of the secretary, don't stand here, this is a private institution. So I say, Eric, let's go around the corner and stand going to a mosque in the bushes, and I'll change my tights and my shoes. And I tell the whole story, and I say, look, I just ruined my clothes. I spent so much time, I didn't go to Starbucks, and I didn't even get a thank you from this woman. She says, well, yeah, sometimes people just... So in front of me, my dress is up, I'm putting my tights up, the door of the mosque opened, and 2,000 men, traditional Muslim men, come on and look at me. And my friend said, see, sounds like you made at least somebody's day. I just tell her their prayers. Look at you. Don't be so upset, at least, something good happened to somebody, so yes, gave back to your interface. You got some kind of, approval anyway. And I'm like, yeah, this is all very nice, but I think this is the last time I even look at the ground and find somebody's shit and give it back to them. Except just 2 days later, I found the purse, but that's another story. Thank you.
Awesome, Katya Duft. That's a great story, really great. Oh, hi, Evan.
Hi.
Nice to see you, buddy. All right, you guys, our final storyteller tonight. Holy cow, this person has won the Moth Grand Slam.
Yes.
Which is a whole nother level of storytelling. She's also been heard on the Risk podcast, and she's performed at the Upright Citizens Brigade. Actually, their house team, Fresh Kicks. Here's something of interest. She was a former college mascot. Please welcome the very talented Julia Lechner.
Thank you all so much.
So I didn't date much when I was younger. I'm a checklist person. I like to do things in a certain order. But a lot of my younger friends were dating years ago, so I thought I'd give it a go. The first online date I ever went on was on Plenty of Inch, if anyone remembers that app. I dressed like I was going to a job interview, at a coffee shop, conducted what felt like a job interview. And then at the end, I never knew how to end dates when I was younger. So I got to a point where I just said, oh, my parents and my brother and I are going to Boston Market after this. Do you want to come? And the gentleman declined. And I didn't go on any more dates for several years after that. Based on that performance, I thought, clearly I'm not ready and I should wait until I'm ready to really give this 110%, like I do with everything in my life. So I continued my life checklist. I went to school, check. Moved cross country, check. Found a career, check. And then it was time to find someone to share all of this with. So I decided to go all in by signing up for every single mainstream dating app in order to date as many men as I could to discover both what I was looking for and to get good at dating. So I signed up for Hinge, OkCupid, eHarmony, Match.com, Coffee Meets Bagel, Bumble. I even went on a few Craigslist dates, but please do not deliver that I did that. But I wanted to see all the options out there, to really get to know some people. I wanted to optimize the ROI on my dating profile to the best of my ability. So I took hundreds of photos of my face from different angles, as well as full body and group shots. And then I uploaded them onto websites where strangers would rank if I was hot or not in these photos. And I wanted their full opinions because, again, I was looking at the best profile I could. So I was like, give me the honest truth about what this looks like and whether someone will swipe in the correct direction. If there was a character count on a dating app, like on OkCupid, you could write a full essay, I would fill out the entire block of text until it hit the red that you could not write any more words. Because again, I wanted to optimize the profile for search engine optimization for as many people as possible to maybe stumble upon my profile and want to be my life partner. I made a spreadsheet based on the radius of where I was willing to travel from my apartment. So there were subcategories depending on the different activities available. So if someone wanted to hike in Los Feliz, I would have hiking options. If someone wanted to go for coffee in Silver Lake, I also had a list of options. Again, the best possible performance I can get from my online dating experience. So I continue all of this work. And then I decide, the thing is, to get to that in-person interaction, I need to make sure that I'm moving through the pen pal phase as quickly as possible. Because it's not the 1800s. I'm not looking to send messages. You're just looking to get people in the sane column. Let's meet in real life, or the this is going to end right here column. So you're like wasting a lot of time really messaging these people because you're just trying to meet them in person. So that's when I start copy pasting messages to men, because no offense to half the people in this room, they're not that deep. You can kind of say the same thing to all of them, and it does the job. And you're just doing all this small talk anyway to get the in real life interaction. So if someone asks me a question, I would say something, copy it, paste it to a different gentleman, and move the process forward as quickly as possible. So we get to a week in time when, to give you a sense of when this is, the first Creed movie is coming out with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
And I'm messaging with a few different men on an app. And each of them asks me, what are you up to next week, Julia? And I like to give them a little breadcrumb to lead to that in-person date. So like give them a reason to ask me out to go and meet one another. So I say to Matthew, I'm from the Philly area, really love the Rocky franchise, want to see that new Creed movie next week. And then I copy that and I paste it to Leon as well, and also to Jeff. And so Matthew replies first and says, let's go see that movie. And then Leon replies with, let's go see that movie. And to follow the rule of threes, Jeff, the music producer, says, let's go see that movie. And that's how I committed to seeing the movie Creed 3 times with 3 different men. And I realized that's quite a lot of Creed, but I stopped and thought about it, and I said, I've had coffee with dozens of men, the same small talk with dozens of men, the same cocktail with dozens of men. what's the big deal about saying Creed 3 times in 3 nights with 3 different men? It's a means to an end. It is a way to vet evil through my system. So I go to see Creed on night 1 with Matthew. His profession is he makes movie trailers for a living. So we watch the movie Creed, and then we get a drink, and he tells me how he would make it into a movie trailer. And exactly what you think it would be. But it's interesting to get to hear about his profession. We put him in he's sane, not sure if he's a life partner, but we can move him into there will likely be a second date column. But I don't have a lot of time to think about whether there's magic between Matthew and I, because I need to go see the movie Creed again with Leon. And so the next night I go out with Leon. He works in a corporate position for a car dealership, and we watch the movie Creed. And then we sit down, and I try not to have the exact same conversations I had with Matthew the night before, trying to remember this is a different person. And we get through the end of that day, and Leon's not as high on the list. We're like, there probably won't be a second date, but we don't establish at the end because I need to remain focused on seeing Creed again tomorrow. So the next day, Jeff, the music producer, reaches out, and he pulls one of those instead of confirming the date, he's like, hey, do you still want to see Creed? Or do you want to just grab a bite, hang out at my place? We don't have to do the movie. And I'm thinking about getting into the 9th hour, seeing a Creed movie in 1 week. And I kind of get cold feet. I'm like, yeah, sure, that sounds good. We don't have to go see Creed. And so I get together with Jeff. We hang out. And it's kind of this epiphany moment in my online dating career where I realize I don't know if any of these people are people anymore to me. Are these even human beings at this point? Or are they just numbers in a spreadsheet in this weird completionist thing where I have to meet every single person in Los Angeles in order to vet them to be my potential life partner? And it's a real turning point for me. So I decided to pump the brakes a little bit on the online dating and definitely stop the copy pasting messages and think, maybe you just need to play it cool a little bit to once again see these people as human beings. If you're trying to find the person you want to spend your life with. And then a month later, I start messaging with someone on the app who reaches out. And he suggests that we meet up in real life for a date. And I do not open the spreadsheet. I say he can recommend where we're going to spend time. And he tells me to recommend a neighborhood that I like hanging out in. So I say, I like that part in Los Feliz, Vermont, and Hillhurst. There's lots of places to eat nachos there. So then he responds with, perfect. I planned a date for us. There's 4 different locations. And if the date is going well, we can progress from location to location if you're enjoying yourself. And if not, we can just go our separate ways. And I think to myself, wow, he must have his own spreadsheet. This is so exciting. So we meet up, we go get hot chocolate at a location, and it's going well. And so then we progress to Desert Rose to have a dusty glass of wine that had been opened a decade before. And then we go to Sphinx to have a drink, and then we go to Home to have dinner. We go to all 4 locations. And then he walks me to my car, and we share a nice kiss. And that is the end of the date. And it went so well that a few years later, I decided to marry that person. And he's right here. His name's Farnan. And he planned that entire date for us. And now every single year on December 17th, we reenact our first date by going to all 4 of those locations once again. And I only make spreadsheets sometimes. I did plan our wedding using a spreadsheet called the San Francisco Google elopement spreadsheet. But otherwise, we try and play it a little cooler. But there is a way that you can optimize your dating to actually find your life partner. You just have to remember there are people in there too.
Thank you very much. Christine. Julia, wasn't that a beautiful story? Holy cow, I love that. I had pizza tonight. You guys have pizza? Anybody? Yeah. I loved it. It's probably all of my teeth. That's okay. You guys, thank you so much for coming out tonight. I did this kind of a show after the pandemic, and it lasted about 6 months. Hopefully this is going to go. So tell your family and friends you had a good time. And let's give a big round of applause for everybody you saw tonight. Neale, Curcio, Lauri Fraser, Flynn, Katya Duft, Julia Lechner, and my name is Christine Blackburn. Blackburn. Thank you so much for coming out. Here comes Sarah.
I hope you guys enjoyed those stories. And I sure appreciate you guys checking out the Story Worthy podcast. Please check out the website as well for any new news that you need to know about. And check out the last 850 episodes as well, because maybe you've heard them, but maybe you need a refresher. That's right. StoryWorthyPodcast.com. That's where you can find all things out Storyworthy. And don't forget about Story Smash coming on December 21st. Story Smash at the Lyric Hyperion. Check out StorySmashShow.com for tickets. All right, you guys. Once again, thank you so much for tuning into Storyworthy today. And on behalf of Julia Lechner, Tom Farnan, John Flynn, David Neale, Jen Curcio, Lauri Fraser, and Katya Duft, my name is Christine Blackburn, saying, make it a story-worthy week.
Thanks for joining us on the Storyworthy podcast. We'll be back next week with all new stories. Subscribe to Storyworthy on iTunes and visit the Storyworthy website at StoryworthyPodcast.com.
Did you know a 2018 study showed half of prenatal vitamins tested had unacceptable levels of heavy metals? I'm Kat, mother of 3 and founder of Ritual. When I was 4 months pregnant, I couldn't find a prenatal I could trust, so I created my own. Ours is made traceable, third-party tested for heavy metals, and recently earned the Purity Award from the Clean Label Project. But don't just take my word for it. Get 25% off at ritual.com/prenatal.